Hi, you're watching The Shamir Show, and today in Shamir's laboratory, we're fixing a little MacBook. I'm your host, Shamir Khan, and I hope you're all having a great day. So why don't we just jump right into it? So what's the problem with this cool little MacBook? Well, my friend Kaylie seemed to have dropped a bunch of water on it on some like Niagara Falls shit, and well, the MacBook kind of got a little fucked. So her and my friend Ryan asked me if I could fix it for them, and I said, of course I can. Who do you think I am? All I ask is that you pay for the parts and brag to your friends that you know a famous YouTuber. Anyway, the MacBook booted up, but it would freeze during the login screen, and you would see the loading bar, but it would just get stuck like that, and you wouldn't actually be able to log in and access any of the files. So from that, I could tell that the water damage wasn't actually too bad. It seemed that there was probably some sort of like auxiliary component in the motherboard that was probably like gunked up and shorting out from any residue left over by the water. But in that case, that's nothing but a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some tender love and care couldn't fix. But then, there was a problem. Literally the entirety of my city was out of rubbing alcohol. I went to every Shoppers Drug Mart in the area. They all seemed to be out of stock. So I was like, no worries, and I waited 2 days. And I went back around and I went all to the Zayres. I went to all the Shoppers Drug Marts again. I even checked out Walmart, and it seemed that the entire city was just out of rubbing alcohol. So what I did was I called up Shoppers Drug Mart customer service, and that's when I find out that there was some sort of like big warehouse accident, and that the whole city was just going to be out of pure rubbing alcohol for a couple of days. So then my only option left was to drive over to the industrial sector of the city over in Preston and go to my favorite overpriced electronics repair shop and pick up a big spray bottle of 99.9% pure anhydrous isopropyl alcohol. I think this came out to about $14, which is a decent chunk more than the $5 you would spend on like a 500 milliliter little bottle over at Shoppers. But in hindsight, I'm actually quite happy I picked this up because at least as far as I could tell, this seems to be a lot more pure and easier to work with. And I don't have anything to prove that or to back that up. That's just my opinion and my personal experience. So take it with a grain of salt. But I found that whenever I would clean off the board with this, the alcohol would just evaporate a lot quicker, and that made it so I could just get my job done a lot faster. But anyway, with that said, let's cut to the repair montage. Although I don't have the part where I'm actually cleaning it with the alcohol and my electronics cleaning brush because I forgot to press record on the video. But hey, at least you get to see every other part. So on this section, I'm just getting the MacBook ready to completely disassemble it. Right here, I'm taking apart the back part of the assembly, which was pretty straightforward. There is only a handful of screws, but they all do require a security bit, so make sure you have that.
73 up in the Goodland area, 72 at Garden City, 70 reported by Dodge City and Liberal, 72 over by the good folks.
By this point, I've actually got the MacBook open, and I was really surprised about just how much room the battery took up. In most laptops, the battery is really only, like 20-30% of the internal volume, but most of the body of the actual MacBook was the battery.
Winds southerly at about 15 with gusts of 25 miles an hour. Barometric pressure 30.00 and is rising. And no precipitation. We're about a half inch behind, correction, a half inch ahead for the year.
Anyway, at this point, I've got the fan of the MacBook out, and I'm just working on getting the main motherboard out of the assembly.
And of course, the possibility of some scattered showers. Today, of course, there's nothing showing up on the radar. However, the satellite photo was pretty interesting for the western half of the U.S. Rain showers and thunder showers along that frontal system. That wide band of fairly heavy snows. Now what will happen Each time that you see the frontal system on there, that begins at 6 o'clock in the morning.
With the main board out of the way, I'm just kind of trying to go through and see if there's any other components I've missed. This is the first time I've actually worked on a MacBook. Normally I'm working on different types of laptops, but it's nice being able to take a look at what Apple has to offer. So about this point, I started inspecting the board to see exactly what was wrong with it, and upon closer inspection on a bunch of the surface-mounted components and a lot of the chips and ICs, there's a bunch of residue left over, kind of like a brittle white powder-looking substance, and I assume that was like the salt and whatnot that was in the drink/water that was spilt all over it. And while I don't have it in this video, I took the rubbing alcohol and then like a toothbrush, or you can find more professional electronic cleaning brushes, but I just used an old toothbrush, and I made sure to let the alcohol seep in under all the ICs, and then I used the toothbrush to gently scrape off as much of this residue as I possibly could. You want to be very careful because there's so many surface mounted resistors, capacitors, just etc. components that if you are too harsh on, they might just fall off, and good luck trying to find them again, because Lord knows I wouldn't be able to. So anyway, because I was pretty careful, I got most of the residue off, and I let all the rubbing alcohol dry off, and since this was the 99.9% pure anhydrous isopropyl alcohol, it evaporated really quickly. I would say within like 5-10 minutes, and I was really soaking this thing in there, so I was pretty impressed with the performance. Also, it should be kind of obvious that the top of my workspace has changed quite a bit, and this whole new cutting mat is something I bought off Amazon to help kind of give my whole workspace a bit more professional look, and so far I'm really impressed with it. Every like small cut that happens into it, it can actually heal itself, and it's been pretty durable so far, and I've really put it under the rigor, I guess, for the past couple weeks. So it should also be kind of obvious that the top of my desk and workspace has changed a lot, and that's because I bought a really large cutting workspace mat for the top of the table. I wanted to kind of get a bit of a more professional look, and so far I'm really impressed with it. The grid is laid out in, I think, centimeters squared, which really helps out, and the middle section has essentially a giant protractor, which I haven't really found a lot of use for right now, but it looks cool. The cutting mat is also really resistant to cuts, so if you actually do cut it, it will actually heal up over time, and in a few days the cut will be gone. I've also added a lot of other things to my whole setup and workspace and just the rest of my room, and I'm planning on hopefully getting a video out soon, just kind of detailing all the new upgrades, but for right now, you guys just get to enjoy this section. So now I'm getting the whole MacBook ready just to test and see if everything's actually working properly. So I don't have the backplate screwed in just yet, but I'm turning it on to see if I can log in now and access all the files. And with the login being a success, I go and text my friend Kaylee and let her know that it's all repaired up and ready to go. Now I'm just installing software, fixing up the computer, just doing a little bit of, I guess, house cleaning in it, because, if I'm working on it, I might as well. Anyway, with that over, we've brought this little MacBook back from the dead. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I don't monetize my videos whatsoever, so the only thing I gain from these videos is your sweet love and affection. And with that said, I hope you guys all have a good day, and I guess I'll see you soon.